Rules are powerful automation tools that can be used in both tables and links. They always react to some event. The event can be record creation, update, or deletion. You can build rules from the blocks like functions, but a full range of blocks is available for rules. Within rules, you can access the previous and the current records through the two record blocks. The old record block represents the record before the event, and the new record block after the event. When a rule is triggered by record creation, the old record block will be empty. In a similar way, if the rule is triggered by record deletion, the new record block will be empty. Be aware that the rules are always executed after the change, so it is impossible to forbid or block the change being made using rules. It is, however, possible to revert the record values to their original state. All the blocks that you use for the rule creation need to be encapsulated in the encapsulating block. All the blocks that are scattered on the canvas are ignored and can cause problems with your rules. Let's create our first rule. We will create a rule that sends an email every time project is completed. We should start from the record block. And we will use the new record block, because every time a record in the projects table updates, we want to check if the completed attribute of some project changed to the done state. So we will connect the record block to the getter and get the completed attribute value. Now we need to check if the value is true. We need a block that can compare two Boolean values. We can find it in the logic category. Now we just put in the values, the record completed attribute value and a true constant. In the controls category we can find blocks that control the flow of information. We will use the if-do block. It will check if a connected condition is fulfilled. If it is, the sequence of blocks connected here will get exercised. Now we need the block that can send the email. We can find it in the utils category. This block expects three text blocks: the email, the subject of the message, and the message body. You can find text blocks in the text category. There you can also find a number of other blocks that allow you to work with text, like replacing patterns in text, measuring the length of text, or converting the text to the uppercase. We should put the completed project's name in the subject of the message, so we can get another record block and a getter. Then get the create text block and create the subject. After connecting all the text blocks, we can assemble the rule and put it into the encapsulating block. Last thing, just select the event that should trigger the function. In our case it will be the update event, and click on the Add Automation button. Now every time someone marks a project as completed, an email will be sent to the email address that we provided in the rule. Another handy block is the variable. There are also other blocks that can set and read variables. A variable is like a box where you can store a value. And every variable can have a name, so you can distinguish between them. This can be useful if you want to use some value multiple times in a rule, but do not want to calculate it each time again. Just calculate it once, save it to the variable, and then use it later. Then there are also loop blocks that can iterate over a list of records and do some action with each. Let's look at another example. Imagine we have a table containing recipes and a table containing ingredients for the recipes. Each recipe is linked to its ingredients. But we may want to also have all of the ingredients in one column separated by commas. First, we need to get the list of ingredients from the linked table. Then we also need a variable where we will be storing the ingredients. Then we will iterate through the linked ingredients of the recipe and add each name of the ingredient to the variable and separate them by comma. After the loop, we will just set the ingredients column of the recipe to the value stored in the variable. There's one more thing. A change made by a rule does not trigger other rules unless the checkbox recursive is checked. But you cannot keep executing the rules indefinitely. Lumeer always calculates which automations need to be executed based on the event that happened. Then it executes all the automations in a sequence. Based on the recursive parameter, Lumeer can evaluate the changes once more, calculate a new set of automations, and execute them once more. At this point in time, no other automations are executed to prevent endless loops.